The following program is brought to you by Jack Miller.
It's Down to Business with Jack Miller. Forget what they teach you in school. This is real life, not Wall Street, but Main Street. A real show on what's really involved with starting and running a business with all the ups and downs. Our guests will answer your questions and provide you with valuable information. Stay tuned and join in the conversation.
When the earth was created.
Hello, everyone. This is Jack Miller. Super excited to be here with you today. I'm here with my good buddy Todd Cohen. Todd, how are you today, my friend?
Doing great. How you doing, Jack?
A little melancholy. I think I've been watching the debates too much, watching the news, listening to people. You talk to people in the world, I get depressed. If I don't talk to people, I don't watch the news, and I listen to Spotify, I'm in a good mood.
I thought you were a curmudgeon. I thought you stayed away from people and don't like them. So
that's the problem.
Right.
I interact with them too much. I'm much happier alone.
And watching the news is mistake number one if you want to be in a good mood. I mean,
I know.
We live in a horrible, horrifying world.
It's scary. It really is scary. I try to cut it down to a minimum. But speaking of news, we have a really smart guy with us today. We have Dave Aronberg, who'll join us in a few minutes. So we have to get all of our immature stuff out right away because this guy is a state attorney for Palm Beach County. He was a former state senator. He graduated Harvard Law School. He was a White House fellow.
Harvard undergrad too. I believe he has both degrees.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Well, we're going to ask him. And I think somebody told me this morning. I hope it's true. If not, it's going to be a little embarrassing. I think he's with or married a Miami Dolphins cheerleader.
Wow.
Which we're going to talk to him about that.
Look at that.
We're going to talk to him about the debates last night. But first, I have to tell you this. I figured out the secret to picking up women.
Go ahead.
Okay, first of all, I have to preface it. It's only women with tattoos and piercings, which seems like today to be the majority of women. So we're out Saturday night with a very good friends who happen to be a little bit, let's say, uptight. I wouldn't, just very straight.
Well, straight-laced.
Very straight-laced. And they're right wing. They're like, but our waitress, young girl in her 20s, tight shorts, whatever, tight top. I happen to notice she has a tattoo on her arm of like a bow or an arrow or whatever the heck, the arrow thing. So I started talking to her about it. The next thing I know, she's telling me she has 7 tattoos. She's telling me where each one is. She's showing me, I don't want to say rips off her shirt, but she's pulling down her shirt. I'm standing up. I'm looking underneath her shirt. She picks up her thing, and you get to see where every tattoo is.
Well, first of all, I think the secret to hitting on girls or dating in general is showing an interest, which is what you did.
Yeah. And they love to talk. People with tattoos and piercings love to talk about them.
I love when we two married guys start talking about hitting on girls and dating, like we know a thing about it.
I believe me, I know nothing about it. But it's a fantasy. You gotta.
Well, you're on to something, Jack. I mean, these girls who get all these tattoos, even one tattoo, obviously liked and were passionate about something enough to permanently ink their bodies with it. So, of course, they're very interested in that. And if you take an interest in that, then it's something they're passionate about, and they'll talk about it till they're blue in the face.
I don't know how much they're passionate. I don't know how much they think about it. I think a lot of it's spur of the moment, alcohol-driven or peer pressure-driven.
Did she show all? Well, there's no way 7 tattoos is all spur.
She did not show them all, but she showed enough to. Well, you know me. I sit down. I have to wash my hands. Then I have to touch the menu, so I have to get up and excuse myself and wash my hands again. Then when I have reach under her, not under her shirt, that sounds really bad, but what's this called? The collar of her shirt, because she's showing me on the back of her neck or whatever.
Oh, wow. Under the hair?
Oh, yeah.
It's hidden, but not right. She wears the hair up to show it off, but she's got it back there. You know that she hides that when she's with mom or grandma. She can put the hair down. And
yeah, the people we were with were terrified, but my wife is used to me, so she knows I'm a whack job. So she, but I had to wash my hands 16 times.
Did she have any in some really out of the way places, so to speak?
It was a public place. She did not admit to it, but my guess would be yes.
Okay.
But I don't know. Okay, you ready to talk politics?
I'm as ready as I'm going to be.
Let's get Dave Aronberg on the phone. Dave, you with us?
Yes, I am. A very interesting conversation about the tattoos. Very interesting.
Dave, I have to tell you the truth, and I don't know if you've had a chance to listen to our shows, but usually we're much more immature and talk about much more inappropriate things. We're two guys. I'm a little older than Todd. I'm 53. How old are you, Todd?
42.
42. And we're pretty buttoned up, and we're pretty screwed tight. So what we do is we at least, we get on the radio and we go like we're immature kids.
So the question we always have when we have a politician or someone like you who's like an esteemed, nobleman of our society is like, can we pull you down to our level? Are you like forbidden to speak, immaturely anymore because you don't want it out there for the public in case you decide to run for president of the universe at some point?
Well, I don't think I'll be running for president of the universe, but if that job opens up, I'd be interested. Let me know.
Right.
And anyways, I know, it's an interesting program. I mean, who wants to hear about politics all the time when you could hear about, your time with, a very nice server at an establishment?
Well, usually the conversations are about bathroom habits,
breasts,
female body parts, all kinds of crazy things. But anyway, talking about crazy things. So, Dave, I'm not a political guy. I don't know that much about it. I know you're a serious guy, but I have to ask you one unserious question. I mean, it's pretty serious. Somebody actually was very excited when he heard that you were coming on, and he told me that you married, and I don't know if this is true or not, and I hope I don't get you in trouble. I hope you're married to her. I think it's a Dolphins cheerleader. Fact or fiction?
Former Miami Dolphins cheerleader. That's correct.
Oh, okay. That's
By the way, I'm not the only politician who has married a former Miami Dolphins cheerleader. In fact, there is a current candidate for president of the United States who's currently married to a former Miami Dolphins cheerleader.
Marco Rubio?
You got it.
Do they have a dating site for something like that? Politicians and cheerleader mingle?
Cheerleaders?
Right.
Not yet, but maybe that's your next big idea.
That is amazing, by the way.
From that.
Congratulations to you both. I mean, that's great.
Thank you. It's been 5 months, and it's going well. We're still newlyweds.
Well, enjoy. The truth is, every day at this stage is special, and just enjoy each day because each day is really special.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Forget the Harvard Law thing.
Jack over there is so jealous. I can see it in his eyes right now. He's like, wow. Tell me your secrets. Maybe he'll take that conversation offline.
Off the air.
Yeah. I have this conversation once in a while with friends my own age, and we're all kind of middle-aged, married nerds. And we said, we talk a big game, but the truth is if we ever got the opportunity, they knew I'd be like too intimidated. I wouldn't know what to do. So...
You know what? It's about having the confidence to do a great radio show, just like it is a confidence to be able to talk to a wonderful woman.
That's good.
There you go.
We're very excited. Congratulations, Mazel Tov, and a lot of blessings for you and your family on your recent marriage. Pretty exciting. So, Dave, you watched the debate.
I did.
What'd you think?
Well, I agreed with the conventional wisdom after the debate, which was that Marco Rubio had a great night. I think Jeb Bush, boy, it was as bad as
kind of painful.
Yeah, because he needed to score something during that debate. He needed to have a victory. And he was diminished, I thought, in that debate because he didn't get much speaking time. He fell in the background. And the one time he did try to launch a punch, it failed because Rubio was able to sidestep it and then deliver a real jab in return. And, I found, to me, the most shocking thing in knowing both of those guys from Florida politics over the years was that the fact that Jeb went after Rubio. This was, I was stunned because those guys were the closest of friends. I mean, Marco saw Jeb as a mentor, and for Jeb, he saw Marco as a protege, and they were tied at the hip. And for Jeb now to start attacking Marco was truly shocking to me. It had to be done, I guess.
I felt the same way. I was really saddened. I like Bush. I like Rubio. I like parts of them all. But I felt sad for Bush when he did that the pressure of the campaign kind of made him do it. And I think it's maybe a sign of the times in running for office today, or maybe, I don't know if you think so, you would know more than me, that a lot of our politicians, certainly not all, are forced to do things they would not normally do or would not want to do in terms of raising money, sucking up to people, taking a low blow like Jeb did last night. It just seems it's kind of, part of the way we do it today.
Yeah. That's politics today. It's gotten to be such a nasty business, and it really was sort of sad because Marco's response to Jeb when he said that someone convinced you that you needed to attack me to help your campaign. I'm paraphrasing here, and it was like, wow, here's the young guy who's like chastising his mentor. Like, shame on you for being led around by others. I mean, when the roles of mentor and protege were reversed there, the wise sage was now the guy being lectured by the young guy for not acting like himself, and I just thought that was fascinating.
I agree. Rubio, I think, again, I don't agree certainly with a lot of his social positions, but he's a fantastic orator and speaker. I don't know if you've ever heard any of his speeches in the Senate, but he's just amazing. I love just listening.
He's very well prepared at every debate, and he is great at that format, and it plays to him. He's very good with the soundbite. He's very good at understanding what he wants to say and how he wants to sort of make each question to his sort of liking and sort of frame it around what he wants to say and the message he wants to get across. He's great at that.
Plus his appearance, he looks good, as opposed to like Kasich, who I think is very smart, and I like a lot of his ideas. I don't think he comes off as polished as Rubio.
Yeah, I agree. I served with Marco Rubio in the legislature, but I never served in the same chamber as he. He was in the House, and I was in the Senate. But I've heard his speeches. Very articulate. I always thought over the years that he has as much talent as that can take him as far as he wants to go. With the one albatross around his neck, I always thought his ideology, and this was years ago, I thought his ideology was so conservative that would inhibit his political success. But what has happened in the interim is that the Republican Party has shifted so far to the right that he is no longer seen as a right-wing conservative. He is seen as a moderate conservative, and that is fascinating. Again, that because of that, he really has a shot. He could become the next president of the United States. It's very possible, and I think that if he wins the nominee, I think he would be a very strong candidate in a general election.
Speaking of that, what do you think about what's going on the other side of the aisle? What's your analysis, quickly of the, I guess, the opposition in the Democratic Party and what's going on there with Hillary and Bernie and the rest?
Yeah, well, I'm a Hillary supporter, and I think she's going to be the nominee almost certainly. And I think she will position herself well for the general election if she doesn't have as strenuous of a primary. Bernie really goes after and makes it close again. For a while it was getting close, but she put some distance between them. But if he happens to make it close again, she'll have to take positions that could hurt her in the general election. And as of now, she has moved and taken some of those positions that could make it look like a flip-flopper, for example. But if she can continue to be strong like she has been, she's had a great last couple of weeks, then I think that she will be not only the nominee but be president.
Do you think that she has any potential, and you may not want to answer this, certainly don't want to put you on the spot, any potential legal ramifications from this email scandal, or is it a brouhaha about nothing?
I mean, I'm probably not the right person to ask because I'm here in Palm Beach County under, I know our state law.
Okay.
So I am not the person to give a legal opinion. I'm pretty much forbidden because in my position as state attorney. But obviously, I wouldn't be supporting her if I thought she was a criminal.
Well, I understand. Being a criminal is different definitions. She's not a bank robber, but she may have. Who knows what she did?
Well, the fact that I'm supporting her, I think, probably says enough about how I feel towards
Look, I don't personally. I don't believe. I don't know what happened, but I think we're making too much of it. If it is I don't think she meant to do anything wrong. So, but either way, but look, I think it's pretty clear it's going to be Clinton. The question is on the Republicans. Who do you think? What do you think last night of Huckabee? You think he's like? Why is he in the race?
Exactly. I've been asked about that on other shows. About what Huckabee says, and I said, doesn't matter. He's not going to be the nominee. He's not going to be president. So it doesn't matter. You
think he's running for State Department or what is a guy like him? What's he? He knows he's not going to win.
He's a true believer. He's a true social conservative, and he just has a different set of, I guess, his authority is different. He thinks perhaps this is a divine mission, and when you believe that, then nothing's going to get in your way, and you're going to run until you just financially can't do it anymore.
That's maybe what he'll do.
As a politician yourself, I mean, I know the World Series was on up against the debate last night. I mean, is this kind of stuff your World Series? Is this like your favorite stuff to watch?
Wait, Dave, hold on to that answer because we got to take I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Todd. I wasn't paying attention to our beautiful producer. We have to take a commercial break. You can think about it for 3 minutes, Dave. When we get back, we'll talk World Series and politics.
Don't turn that dial. We will be right back.
Are you tired of dealing with unreliable banks and brokers who charge upfront fees and never deliver on their promises? You don't have to. Gelt Financial Corporation has been in business since 1989 and offers a stated income loan program for non-owner-occupied residential and commercial real estate investors. No tax returns required. What are you waiting for? Call Gelt Financial right now at 561-221-0900. Again, that's 561-221-0900. 561-221-0900.
Did you invest in a non-liquid real estate partnership? Do you want and need liquidity? There's finally an answer. Quick Liquidity is a direct buyer of real estate minority interest and tenants in common investments across the country. To find out if we would buy your non-liquid investment, call us at 561-221-0881 or visit us at quickliquidity.com. That's quickliquidity.com. If you're buying, selling, or investing in real estate, call attorney Dan Kaskow, 561-237-6822. Mr. Kaskow is board certified by the Florida Bar as an expert in real estate law. He's been practicing law for more than 20 years and is a partner in the law firm of Sachs Kaplan with offices in Boca Raton and Tallahassee. Dan Kaskow handles real estate, corporate, condominium, and homeowner association matters throughout Florida. From residential purchases and sales, bulk buying and selling of condominium units, to purchases and sales of commercial properties. Contact attorney Dan Kaskow at 561-237-6822 for your real estate, corporate, and community association legal needs. Attorney Dan Kaskow, 561-237-6822. Non-attorney spokesperson for attorney Dan Kaskow.
For up-to-date news, the latest info, contests, and more, like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at 880TheBiz.
Where money talks.
Welcome back to It's Down to Business with Jack Miller. Call us at 305-541-2350. Follow us on Facebook at Jack Miller Down to Business or on Twitter at HJackMiller1.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for staying with us. We're super excited to have, this is Jack Miller and Todd Cohen, Dave Aronberg today. I apologize, Dave.
No problem.
Anyway, Dave, so you can answer. Feel free.
I'll ask the question again. I'm sorry, but I know the debate last night competed against Game 2 of the World Series, and I was just curious, as a politician yourself, if that type of event and all of the shows after sort of dissecting it is like your World Series or Super Bowl. I mean, is that like really fun to watch for you?
It's okay. It's these things can get a little long, and when you are in the world of politics, sometimes the last thing you want to watch on TV is a political show. But debates are interesting. If you ask me, if the debate were against the Miami Dolphins game tonight, I would be watching the Dolphins game every night of the week compared to the debate. So, the fact that it was against the World Series where two teams were playing that I have no loyalties to made my decision easy to watch the debate.
Right. Now, I have one more question for you. Given the format of last night's debate, and I know they do a bunch in different places and have different sort of moderators, but given that they had, the ultra-liberal MSNBC team as the moderator, and given that they picked a venue in like tree hugger capital of the world, and I love Boulder, by the way, beautiful place, love liberal cities, but I mean, I'm just curious if like just putting them in that hostile environment, I mean, is that just all for the spectacle? I mean, what's your opinion? Because it became that, and they got called out for it a number of times last night.
I have to take issue with the premise of your question because the hosts were not MSNBC liberals. They were CNBC commentators, and they are not liberals. Those are business commentators who, on their network, and I watch their network leans Republican. They actually have their hosts, whether it's Jim Cramer or Ron Insana or Becky Quick, the people you saw last night they're pro-business and lean Republican commentators. And so what happens is, in a red meat Republican primary, what goes over better than anything is attacking the mainstream media, the liberal media, and it's always an assured applause line. So that's why you see them piling on, especially if you don't want to talk about the issues, just attack the media. And so that's what they did. So this was not MSNBC. This is CNBC, very different.
I know. It does seem, though, and I must confess, I really don't, I'm not a big TV watcher, so I don't really watch it to know the difference. But it does seem that some of the questions were a little bit, I don't want to say like they wanted to egg them on. And I understand the network wants ratings, but it didn't seem serious, especially about the internet fantasy football, which I don't play. But it's like, does anyone really care about a lot of this stuff?
Well, I think the reason why they asked those questions, the one thing that I will say they are guilty of, is that they try to make this like the Super Bowl, in that they're promoting their own TV shows afterwards, thinking it's going to get the TV show, the profit, a big boost in the ratings. So what happens is they try to make this debate a little more sensationalized, a little more interesting to people. Instead of talking about, economic policy, which I cannot believe they didn't talk about the regulation of Wall Street. That's what they talk about usually on CNBC. But they didn't ask them about the regulation of Wall Street. Instead, they asked them about the regulation of fantasy football, and that's because they try to make their program more appealing to a broader audience who normally doesn't watch their network. But as you can see by their audience's reaction, it fell flat. And look, the audience, right in Boulder, they were not supportive of those questions. They were booing when they asked Carson that question about his affiliation with a drug company. They cheered loudly the comments, the swipes at the media. So, I didn't think it was a left-wing audience at all. I do think some of the questions were geared to be a little sensationalized.
Yeah, I agree. I walked away, or I fell asleep on the sofa, but sat away from it thinking that the whole thing was just a media show, and I'm more discouraged by just the whole process because you just get the feeling that I get the feeling that whoever I vote for, whoever is in, it's going to be more of the same. Maybe I'm too cynical, but
unfortunately, a lot of people agree with you, and that's why they don't vote. But you need to do your civic duty, because there is a difference between the parties. There really is. I mean, and you'll see it in the general election. You'll see that when those two nominees are on stage, there will be a serious difference of opinion on a bunch of major issues.
Look, I know there is. It was evident last night. It's clear. I guess from me, and this is only Jack Miller, Todd has their own, everyone has their own opinion. I like and dislike parts of each of them.
Right.
Even Bernie Sanders, as out there as he is on certain issues, when I listen to some of what he says, I said, he's right. And even whoever the most socially conservative Republican was last night, a Ted Cruz type, for me, socially, he doesn't work at all, but I agree with what he says, and the same thing I could say about Paul. I agree with a lot of what he says. But
what really irks me in today's politics, and I don't know how we can get this to change, is that for certain issues, there seems to be like that they all have to toe the party line. All of them, like for instance, all the Democratic candidates, they support this Iran deal, for instance, and all the Republican candidates, they support, that there shouldn't be gay marriage, and there shouldn't be, they're all pro-life, and the whole thing, and it makes me mad that we can't have outliers. We can't have people that sort of mix and match their platform and bring, conservative fiscal policy with, sort of liberal social policy to their platform and be part of a party. I don't understand that.
They do try to mix it, but then they lose. The ones that mix it lose, like Jim Webb tried that. He's out of the race already. John Huntsman tried that 4 years ago in the Republican primary.
Well, when you say they try that, I feel like they're getting pressure from the party.
They are.
And it has nothing to do with that the public wouldn't like that. It's that the party doesn't accept that.
Well, the problem is that you have to win a primary first, and to win a primary, you have to move either left in the Democratic primary or right in the Republican primary. So a candidate who espouses those views that you say, like John Huntsman, he was one, he could never win a Republican primary. You can't be, you can't say nice things about Obama. He worked in the Obama administration, be reasonable and moderate on many issues, and be a conservative on fiscal issues, and get through the party nomination process. You have to move far right, because the people who are most motivated to vote in a primary are the most conservative voters on the Republican side and the most liberal voters on the Democratic side.
We're actually, Todd, having a guest on. His name is Jimmy LaSalva, in I think 2 or 3 weeks, who was a Republican. He was head of CPAC on the Republican Party. He is a gay American. He started GoPac, and he was a big shot at the Log Cabin Republicans. He left the Republican Party, and he's starting, believe it or not, his own movement called the Normal Movement. He has a fantastic book out about leaving the Republican Party, and he brings up exactly that point. We'll go into it more in a few weeks, but it's just a crazy time. I want to run through a few more names, Dave. Then we have to unfortunately take a break. But when I get back, I actually want to talk about some interesting, I don't want to say interesting, some what I call horrific stuff that you told me are big issues, which I must confess I had no idea about. But give me your opinion. What do you think about Ben Carson?
I would never vote for him.
Why, out of curiosity?
And he will not be president. I think he knows very little about how government works. He doesn't know much about the issues. I'm sure he was a very smart neurosurgeon, but it doesn't translate into being able to lead a multi-trillion-dollar economy. I mean, he really is probably, of all the candidates up there, I would say the most ignorant, clearly, when it comes to public policy or how to run, how to be involved in government. And that's working for him. I mean, because he knows so little, there are people who hate politicians, and they're flocking to him. But he won't win the primary. He's not going to be president. And I think the more he talks, the more disappointing I think people who follow him are with him, because they see he's all style and no substance.
Right. Well, shockingly, given the panel of people, he wins the prize for saying the one soundbite I think that irked me most so far, and that is that if all Jews had guns, in Germany in the 30s, the Holocaust never would have happened. And the fact that he said that alone is just, it's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling where we are as a country in general on the gun issue, but it's also mind-boggling that someone would say something like that.
Okay, Donald Trump. We have 3 minutes to a break. What do you think of Donald Trump?
Well, I think he's entertaining to watch, right? I mean, he definitely makes you tune in on the TV, and he has, believe it or not, he's actually, some of his views are more Democratic, and because he used to be a Democrat, he spoke passionately against super PACs last night. I thought that was great. I mean, obviously, I disagree with him on some of the comments he's made, when it comes to Mexicans or the comments about women, but I do think you can take some of the things that he said and have a debate about them, and a serious debate like super PACs last night. By the way, I don't believe that he actually would like guns on all of his properties. I think that was surprising last night. But I guess he really wants to make sure he gets the vote of gun owners everywhere.
Right. I agree, and I also believe that he doesn't believe a lot of the things that he says. Like, I don't think he's as pro-life as he's letting on. I don't think that he's against gay marriage.
He could be pandering to the right.
I think so.
They all do. I'll tell you, I like a little, no one cares, but I like a little bit of Carson. I like a little bit of Trump. I like a little bit of them all. I'm sick of them all, but I think they're all good. What did you think about Chris Christie? I think he had some fire last night.
Yeah, but, the problem with Chris Christie is that he was Donald Trump before Donald Trump was Donald Trump. Donald Trump has stolen his thunder, and as long as Donald Trump is in the race, Chris Christie has no chance, because, Chris Christie is the brash, say it like it is, in your face, New Jersey guy. Well, does that sound like someone else? Donald Trump. Donald Trump can do it better, and that's why Christie is doing so poorly in the polls right now that he was relegated to being on the far end of the stage.
Well, look, some of them may be campaigning for. So, look, who do you think is going to be the nominee on the Republican side?
Well, if I had to say right now, it would be Marco Rubio. But I can be wrong. I've been wrong before. I thought at the beginning of this race, I thought it would be either Bush or Rubio or Walker. And, at least one of the picks is still in the race. It looks like, Walker's out, of course, and Bush is fading fast.
Well, we'll see. We got to take a break. When we come back, I wanted to get into some serious stuff, actually very disturbing stuff, with Dave about the state of affairs in the country today. So we'll talk to everyone in 3 minutes. Thank you.
Don't turn that dial. We'll be right back.
Turn it around.
Do you need long-term real estate financing? Gelt Financial is located right here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and provides 30-year terms with no balloon payment whatsoever on non-owner occupied residential and commercial real estate. With a minimum loan amount of only $75,000 all the way up to $5 million, we provide common sense underwriting and a quick closings. We don't require tax returns whatsoever. Call right now at 561-221-0900. Again, that's 561-221-0900.
Did you invest in a non-liquid real estate partnership? Do you want and need liquidity? There's finally an answer. Quick Liquidity is a direct buyer of real estate minority interest and tenants in common investments across the country. To find out if we would buy your non-liquid investment, call us at 561-221-0881 or visit us at quickliquidity.com. That's quickliquidity.com.
You're locked into 880 The Biz, South Florida's only business talk station. 880 The Biz,
Where money talks.
Welcome back to It's Down to Business with Jack Miller. Call us at 305-541-2350. Follow us on Facebook at Jack Miller Down to Business or on Twitter at HJackMiller1.
Hello, everyone. This is Jack Miller, Todd Cohen, and Dave Aronberg back. Thank you for joining us. Dave, I appreciate you sticking through. Dave, let's switch gears if we can. First of all, tell us what your job is in Palm Beach County. What does the state attorney do? And then we'll talk about some issues.
The state attorney is the district attorney. I prosecute all the state crimes that occur here in Palm Beach County.
Okay. So you deal with a lot of serious stuff. What do you think are the biggest, first of all, do you like, as a sidebar, do you like your job more than campaigning? Or, like, how do you equate them all? Like, when you have an election coming up, do you say, oh, my gosh, I got to run for office? Or do you kind of enjoy them both? Or, I don't know.
I like the job so much more than campaigning. The worst part of campaigning is having to raise money.
Yeah, I figured that. Yeah, how much, again, I don't want to get specific in yours, but I know for, like, Congress and Senate, it's like, millions and millions and millions of dollars. How much does the average, again, not in Palm Beach, how much the average state attorney throughout the state of Florida have to raise?
Oh, it depends on your jurisdiction. If you're in Miami, I would think it has to be, over $1 million. If it's in North Florida, probably $100,000.
Gotcha. So in some of the bigger areas, some pretty big bucks.
Oh, yeah.
Got it. Yeah. Doesn't sound fun. So you don't relish the campaign, so to speak.
I love meeting people. I love speaking with groups and hearing from them, but I don't like the fundraising part. But that's just part of it all. And so I'd rather be in the office and have this job and have this responsibility and this opportunity than the election that comes before it. But it's a means to an end, these elections.
I hear you. What are the big issues facing Palm Beach County and facing the South Florida area today?
Well, the issues facing Palm Beach County are similar to a lot of urban areas. Gun violence, domestic violence, drugs, gangs. But one issue that I hear about more than others is human trafficking. It's probably the number one issue I'm asked about because it's on a lot of people's radar. It's modern-day slavery. It's people who are taken from tough situations. Usually it's runaways and others inside our own communities who are taken into a life of sex slavery, and it's happening right amongst us. There's also people who are taken from other countries into the promise of a better life here, but to pay off their trafficker, they have to be sold into slavery when it comes to work slavery, labor, and then sometimes in the sex trade as well. This is all very happening way too often, but it's very tough to prosecute these cases because although we now have some tough new laws on the books, it's difficult for victims to cooperate with us. They don't often want to speak up. They're afraid. Sometimes they get Stockholm Syndrome and fall in love with their captors, and it's a very difficult case to prosecute. But with new laws in the books, we're definitely doing our best.
It's seriously depressing stuff. It's unbelievable.
I was just going to say, yeah, it's very. Yeah, I didn't. Even, I must confess, I live in a hole which I don't want to come out of, but I didn't even realize it was a big issue. I've seen, actually, I think CNBC or MSNBC had a special on it one time. I watched it. But I didn't realize it was like a top-tier issue, that it was commonplace.
Yeah, even here in South Florida.
So what happens? So, a young girl or young boy runs away from home. They're, 17, 18 years old. Maybe they're hooked on drugs, and they get hooked up with a pimp or prostitute or John or whatever. And I guess that person promises to keep them alive and give them the housing and money and maybe drugs if they sell their bodies. Is that?
Start small. They get them addicted to drugs, and sometimes they're already addicted to drugs. And then they show them the love and the support that they're not getting at home. But that love is not real love. That love is just using them for money, and it's just a horrible situation that it's very difficult to get out of.
How much, it seems, and I know nothing about this really, but it would seem with a lot of these areas, domestic violence and getting hooked on drugs or alcohol or any type of addiction, that you can just keep passing crimes, and we can add more and more to law enforcement. But it seems a lot of it is community-based and going back to families and communities that have to solve the problems there before they get problems. And I just want to get your thought on that. Have we gotten away from the tight family unit, the tight community unit where everyone knew each other in a small town or a church or a synagogue or a school or whatever it is, and now you live in these huge areas where people are always moving and coming and you don't see anyone, and there's no support system to catch the people when they fall?
Yeah, the breakdown of the American family has contributed to a lot of ills, and that's one of them. I mean, without a doubt. I mean, a lot of the people I see, people think human trafficking is all immigrants who come in here, but it's actually more women who are trafficked come from our own communities, runaways, and others who are just not getting the love that they need at home.
Is it because there is no home? Because the parents,
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my brothers actually runs a residential treatment facility for, I don't want to say runaways, for delinquent kids in Philadelphia, and he tells me the stories. It's just horrible that a lot of these kids are, they grow up with one parent, and their parent is out on the corner doing crack every night, and this is what they know. And again, that's why I go back to, I think the solution is not, I'm not saying criminally it's not a solution. Obviously you have to deal with something, but it would seem to me it would be back to the family, the community. Somehow we have to get more into a community of America who cares for each other, instead of just everyone being uptight and stressed out and it's your problem. The faith-based, whatever you call it.
Yeah, well, you can't arrest your way out of a crime problem, and so you need to have prevention and rehabilitation. You need to have families to come together. You need to have non-government organizations involved and not just law enforcement to pick up the pieces after something occurs.
You could laugh about it, but George Bush had a good point when he talked about his 1,000 points of light. I didn't know what it meant then, but I agree with you that we need to have stronger, tight-knit communities, churches, whatever it may be. I think that would solve a lot of the problems.
Well, yeah, it's when Hillary Clinton said it takes a village to raise a child. There's truth in that.
There is. How big of an issue is domestic violence?
Well, we have a domestic violence unit that's really, I think, top-notch. It's called the DOVE unit, Domestic Violence Elimination Unit. The worst statistic we have when it comes to domestic violence is that more than half of our victims refuse to cooperate, which makes our lives, our jobs, very challenging. We want to stop domestic violence. It is a scourge. It is evil, and it must be stopped. But it's very difficult when victims recant and don't cooperate, and then the abuser gets away with it. And it's something that we have a new program to deal with that, to try to get counseling for victims who are afraid to leave and to encourage them to break that cycle of violence. But it's definitely a challenge, and it's something we take very seriously.
How much of it is man? I don't want to say man on woman. That sounds terrible. But man perpetrating. A man hits a woman as opposed to a woman hitting a man.
Oh, it's mostly man hitting woman, but you do see cases the other way around.
Really? Now let me ask you a question. Is it common in the Jewish community for a women to beat up their husbands?
Common.
Yeah. Because I have some theory. No, I'm just teasing. Todd and I are both.
I know where you're getting
Todd
at,
and
no.
Not Todd and I's wives, but I have to tell you, I admit it, I'm scared of my wife. Not that she would ever beat me up, but she yells at me a lot. And I'm probably going to get yelled at in about 2 seconds.
Oh boy, yes. I think you're asking for it tonight.
No, I have a great one.
What is it with Florida in general, where the craziest, sickest crimes that I see on the news, a good 50 to 60% of them take place in Florida? Even today, I mean, I think there were 2 news stories that broke about sexual perversion and child pornography involving police. What is it about Florida, do you think?
What is it about Florida that creates it? I think maybe it's the sun, the fun, the fact that we're a relatively new state with new population. You know, we're still looking for a sense of community. You go to some of these old industrial states, and they have this identity, this Ohio identity, you know, Missouri identity, and we're, you know, a compilation of all different groups inside one land area. You know, we have like really like 5 or 6 different states in one. Maybe that has to do with it.
It's probably a combination of things. What do you think of? Are you a supporter of police cameras, that every cop should have to wear a body camera?
That's a complex issue. Boy, that's a lot more than we can discuss today. But I want to look at all the data to see if it actually helps. I think there's definitely some encouraging signs to have more body cameras, but you know, that's a very lengthy discussion that needs to involve sunshine laws and when the cameras are turned on, when it's not, what the protocols are, where the cameras are. There's so much to discuss on that. But in general, I do think it will help policing in the long run.
It seems the country is at a difficult time between being a law and order country and good, effective policing, and probably 99% of the policemen are good cops, and some of the bad publicity that some of the police have gotten, or some of the stories we've heard. And I would think, as a law enforcement officer, that it's a fine line, and it's a very delicate line that law enforcement has to face now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This is a different society because people, with all the press that's out there, there's with cameras everywhere, there's a lot of pressure on law enforcement to get it right every time and not to cross that line. And if they do, you know, they're held accountable. And before, you didn't have the advent of cameras everywhere, but also with this higher scrutiny, you don't want police to be afraid to do their jobs properly, and you want them to be able to, if they see that if they have probable cause or reasonable suspicion that someone's about to commit a crime, they've got to be able to act. So that's a very tricky issue, and hopefully with a conversation about this nationally, we can find the right, proper equilibrium.
I think I would suspect it'll take time to do it, because you're right. There is a lot of it's complex, but you also have to ask, you know, without the cameras, how much stuff was going on beforehand that's not caught on cameras. So it's a tough balance. And look, I give the police force and any law enforcement or anyone, an officer, tons of credit. I wouldn't want to take the abuse. I wouldn't want to do their job. I don't think most people would.
It's a really, really difficult job.
Yeah, it's very tough. You put your lives at stake, and you put up with a lot of garbage all day long. For what? So I kind of worry that will somebody young want to be in law enforcement, you know, and say, why should I do that?
Yeah,
why should I?
Look, Jack is a little jealous of you and sort of looks up to you for marrying a former Miami Dolphin cheerleader. One of the things that I look up to you for, I think my favorite thing on your resume is your involvement with sort of taking it to the insurance companies of Germany and you know, for Holocaust victim families in recouping insurance policies and the fraud that was perpetrated.
Yeah, thank you. That was the Holocaust asset restitution project I worked on.
Yeah, well, I'm a grandchild of Holocaust survivors and many deceased, frankly, in my family. And, you know, that kind of work sort of makes me smile, and I'm glad that there's people out there, you know, fighting the good fight to sort of make things right in the world, you know, even baby steps. But thank you for your work doing that. And if you want to talk about it a little bit, you know.
Well, it's probably one of the most meaningful things I've ever done. You work with Holocaust survivors who had insurance policies before World War II, and then after the war they were told that those policies didn't exist by the insurance companies that counted on the fact that they would be annihilated during World War II. And some people had copies of their policies still, and they were rejected and refused, and they made every excuse in the book, these companies, not to pay, not to honor the policies. So we got involved with Insurance Commissioner Bill Nelson, who's now a U.S. Senator, and we're able to convince, it was a team effort, but we were able to convince these insurance companies to pay up, at least in part. And so we were able to restore a measure of justice to the victims of the Holocaust.
Awesome. Look, I mean, we just talked about, basically human trafficking, domestic violence, the Holocaust. I mean, pretty much the who's who of what, brings a show down, all the topics that
we have one more commercial, Peg. Dave, will you stay with us if we promise to talk about positive things?
I'm sorry, my friend. I can't stay any longer.
Go.
So I'm going to have to let you go now. But thanks for having me on. We stayed actually one segment longer. I postponed my next meeting.
Go.
So I'm sorry to not to finish the interview.
Don't worry about it. I held you over. We'll take a break. Dave, thank you very much.
Thanks, Dave.
And Dave, good luck with the election.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Todd, we'll be back in 2 minutes when we'll talk more.
Don't turn that dial. We will be right back.
Are you tired of dealing with unreliable banks and brokers who charge upfront fees and never deliver on their promises? You don't have to. Gelt Financial Corporation has been in business since 1989 and offers a stated income loan program for non-owner-occupied residential and commercial real estate investors. No tax returns required. What are you waiting for? Call Gelt Financial right now at 561-221-0900. Again, that's 561-221-0900. 561-221-0900.
Did you invest in a non-liquid real estate partnership? Do you want and need liquidity? There's finally an answer. Quick Liquidity is a direct buyer of real estate minority interest and tenants in common investments across the country. To find out if we would buy your non-liquid investment, call us at 561-221-0881 or visit us at quickliquidity.com. That's quickliquidity.com.
Welcome back to It's Down to Business with Jack Miller. Call us at 305-541-2350. Follow us on Facebook at Jack Miller Down to Business or on Twitter at HJackMiller1.
Hello, everyone. This is Jack Miller again with our good friend Todd Cohen. Todd, what'd you think of Dave Aronberg?
Great guest. He's definitely... well, first of all, he's looser than the other politicians we've had, which that's always nice.
I was surprised at that.
Not that I have a problem with that. I mean, some people are looking out for themselves in a day and age where you need to do that because everything you say and do is on the internet and on iTunes and whatnot and in podcasts for eternity. So. You can't erase what you put out there in the world these days. So,
so everything we say, we're going to be.
You and I are going to burn in hell.
Yeah,
there's no doubt about that. But
my wife, not that we're going to burn in hell, but she reminds me everything we say is out there.
There you go.
I know.
But I thought he was a great guest. Very interesting, great history, very smart guy, very lucky guy. And he's done some great work.
Yeah, he's definitely a smart guy. And I didn't realize until yesterday, there's a bunch of controversies in his office now. One with a shooting of an unarmed, forget the kid, I think Freddie Gray or someone, unarmed in Palm Beach County by a plainclothes police officer.
There's a lot of that now, or at least we're seeing it more. Maybe there was a lot before, and before the advent of camera phones and everything else, we weren't seeing it as much, but. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I find it very strange that I feel like things have become more racist, more horrible than ever in the last 5-10 years in terms of gun violence, in terms of just off-the-wall crimes that we see in our country.
I agree, but I blame it on the people and the community. And I think government and everyone has put everyone under so much stress, people are ready to snap at any moment. And I think a lot of them snap. I know I feel like I'm not going to do that, but I feel like I'm losing it. Everyone does.
Right.
Or I do.
But you have self-control.
Very little. In some areas. No, but people are under more stress than they've ever been. Business is tougher. Everywhere you go, everything is just a battle.
Right.
And I think what's happening in the Democratic race and the Republican race shows that people just can't take it anymore. And they get the feeling that the government is way too big, too many laws, no one cares, no one's in touch. You think anyone up there last night, did they know what's going on in the real world?
Not really, but I mean, look, in our country, for generation after generation, things seem to get better for families. The kids could do better than their parents. There was opportunity. I think for the first time, we've hit sort of a precipice. And, this generation or the last maybe even couple generations, is feeling added stress not just the normal stresses of the world of work and family, but added stress of the fact that, things may not be better for our generation and future generations.
I agree. Do you watch Newsroom?
I did.
Did you watch the first episode,
Yep.
the first clip where
Yeah, we need to make America great again.
That's exactly that's exactly what it is.
That's a great speech. That's Aaron Sorkin at his best. I mean,
I kept thinking that we should play it on air, but I'm afraid I'd be stoned by Americans. Because here's the problem. We're taught in school, America's a great country. We do this great, we do that great, and everything's great here. But life isn't so great sometimes.
No, and it's very important to realize that every day is a battle. Every day you have to go out and tie your shoes and put on a tie or whatever you wear to work and go out there, put your game face on and do your best to have a great day. And, nothing comes for free. People, I don't know where that sort of attitude came from, but nothing is free. Nothing is easy.
We've gotten away from it. We all don't want to work. We want less work weeks and, we're a lazy society, including me, unfortunately. But one of the things I didn't ask him was about legalizing marijuana. I actually...
you can ask me about it.
What do you think about it?
I like it. I'm all for it.
Me too.
No, I mean, I don't mean that as, in like a let's go follow the dead around the country and smoke, wake and bake and do the whole thing. I mean, I think marijuana... is no more damaging to society than alcohol is, for instance. And I think that there's no reason why it's not legal in our country.
I think you're seeing a big move to the left. And I think eventually you'll start seeing it more and more.
Not only that, but the healing properties, the proven healing properties of it, alone should sort of raise eyebrows on the other side of this debate.
I agree. So more important, are you a boxer or a brief man?
I am definitely a boxer brief man.
Boxer brief. So
yeah, I think I'm too loose in the boxer, the traditional boxer, and the tighty whities. Forget about it. I mean, that's disgusting, and I don't like anything about that feel or look.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, that's important to know. We didn't talk, but this week there was a huge announcement in the pharmaceutical world with the merger of Rite Aid and Walgreens.
That's right. Here we are on Down to Business, talking business.
The problem is we only have 2 minutes left.
I love it. The merger's interesting on a lot of levels. I do not think that they're going to let this one go through because then we only have two companies in a humongous industry, a multi-gazillion-dollar industry, and I don't know what the fair or not fair is, but there's got to be antitrust laws that are going to be kicked in here.
When does this would be a good topic for sure. We only have like 1 minute left. But where's the government's place in saying what businesses can buy other businesses? I don't know the answer.
Well, look, I mean, we had a lot of mergers in the banking industry when they relaxed the Glass-Steagall, rules in the 90s under Clinton. Then we had a lot of mergers recently in the airline industry. I mean, with Continental and United, and now with American and U.S. Air. But there are so many players in those industries, both banking and airlines, that I think they felt it was okay.
I agree. I think Carly Fiorini or whatever her name is said it best last night when she said, big companies wants to squash small companies and big government helps them do it.
Well, that's certainly true. I mean, but then you get some companies like Walgreens or Home Depot who take out all the little guys, when they become the companies that they become. And in so doing, they buy a lot of the little guys and make a lot of, small families very wealthy, generational wealth when they do it. And they put a lot of others out of business. And you know what? The corner hardware stores are all gone. When a Home Depot moves in. And the same goes true for the Five and Dimes and any other type of store when a Walmart comes to town.
Okay, we got to leave it at those final words of wisdom from Todd Cohen. Everyone, thank you very much. Have a great day. We'll catch you next Thursday or on podcast.
Yeah.
Todd, have a great week. And next week I'll be in a better mood. We're going to come up some good bathroom humor, maybe some little people humor, some lesbian humor.
There we go. Happy Halloween. Enjoy your weekend. We're going to be in November. I think we're also falling back. I think it's time to set our clock.
We hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to tune in next Thursday at 3 o'clock on 880 The Biz. If you want to send in your questions, comments, or ideas for shows, please email Jack Miller at geltfinancial.com. Follow us on Facebook at Jack Miller Down to Business or on Twitter at HJackMiller1.